one thing that I learned, favorably, like early on in this was, um, you can go further together. And so it took some of the pressure off of me because I realized like I don't have to personally become the best at everything. I need to find people who are the best at that and do life with them. I
Hmm.
need to bring them on the journey with me. And as a result, we will be the best in that area, right? And same thing here. Like we've seen exponential growth. Um, and as fun as that is, it's also very risky for business owners because if you
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
don't if you don't know what you're doing, you can work yourself into an somewhere you're it's irrecoverable, right? Like
Hmm.
there's no coming back, or it's so immense to dig yourself back out of, poor practices that you'll lose the very thing that you love. The very thing that made you successful will go away. And so we realized that about a year ago that like, hey, like this is fun and we're growing and we've picked up pieces along the way and created some incredible professionals inside of our organization and
Yeah.
went and found the best talent and tried to find the best people, the best players, put together the best processes. And we've worked very hard to perfect the craft that we do, and we feel like we have the best product. And it's
Hmm.
constantly getting better. Right? It's like you never arrive there. It's constant improvement.
Yeah.
But we're miles in front of where we started. And with all that, like all this growth and all this stuff, and we want to help as many people as possible. Like our dream is to build communities with people that share our values, and we're doing that by going
Yeah.
into new communities. And we're popping up in multiple states and multiple cities, and we're doing all these things. And the backside of that is we realized our roles change in this organization, right?
Hmm.
We're not
Hmm.
responsible
Constantly evolving,
for
right?
yeah, for the build and the things, and like it's more of a management now to where we've built this thing. We're serving hundreds of clients, which is thousands of family members with our
Hmm.
product, and we're serving you know almost 100 employees, and even more than that, hundreds of subcontractors and
Yeah,
people
and
that
their families,
yeah
and
that are
yes, yes.
depending on us. And so it would be catastrophic to let ego get in the way of getting better. And we knew that there was an area here as this thing got bigger that we needed to get more prepared for and align ourselves and surround ourselves with people with experience at that level. And that led us to you. And it's been so fun. Not really. Like it's my least favorite thing in the world to talk about finances and money and all that stuff because I really don't care about it. And it seems reckless sometimes. Like even you'd be like, that's a reckless statement. But like I'm not I'm not motivated by revenue. I'm
Yeah.
motivated by more the impact that comes from it. So it's a necessary thing, but it's not my main motivation. So I don't think about all the financial things a lot. And you've seen that when I came to you,
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, like let's build some systems and processes and get you plugged in with some
Yeah,
people.
and it comes down to one of our core values is the relentless pursuit of excellence. And what I see in you and Ross is this just going after everything. Like we're going to be the best. We're going to dominate, and that's the entrepreneur spirit, right? Yet so many people, when they start growing, then they're like, all right, how do I get to that next level? And they hit those ceilings of complexity, right? Whether it comes into on the finance side, not having it in a way that you can go to banks and get money for cash flow, right? Not having the type of people around you that says, hey, I see the clarity in where you're going, and man, this is exciting, but hey, we got to make sure that the foundation's there, because as we keep getting bigger and bigger and growing, it has more challenges, right? And at different levels. And when you've got the right type of team around you who understands that and not working in isolated silos. You and I talk about this all the time, professionals working in isolated silos. And you're having to make all these decisions like, well, if I got to make a decision over here, then why am I even hiring you, right? So if you have that clarity, and that's one thing that we established up front, and even when I shared with you, hey, if I'm going to work together, I got to have clarity. I got to have you guys buy in because we're going to do something substantial together, but we got to be able to grow and know that, hey, there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be things happen, but that's part of the excitement, but it's also part of the challenge. It may have been Ross Perot. I think he said it best, that the definition of an entrepreneur is someone who sees the world differently and they're just relentless at that pursuit. yet they always feel like they aren't good enough. And I know you share that, right? I got to be able to do more, right? And that's somewhat an enigma when we really get into entrepreneurs, that we want to be so successful. We really don't take a step back and say, well, just like you mentioned earlier, well, look at where we've gotten, right? And even now, where you have gotten, you guys have done from a growth standpoint, which is a trajectory that's just skyrocketing. You're like, we're not even scratching the surface of where we can even go, right?
Right.
And that's the beauty of less than 1% of the population ever get to the point where they can build enterprise value. And that, and one of the reasons I'm passionate about helping privately held business owners, and I think I've shared this with you, but I'd love your audience to hear this. Over the next 10 years, there's $15 trillion of enterprise value with privately held business owners. And 80% of that will not be realized, or it will be extremely undervalued. Now, think of the travesty that is, that if you take out federal, state, and local governments, privately held business owners employ almost 85% of the workforce. They dedicate their lives. They pay everybody else before they get paid. They sacrifice some things with their family. And for them, whenever they're transitioning, whatever that would be, not to realize that value, that's what drives me. That's what I'm so passionate about. And I had a lot of discussions on that. And I see that in what you guys are doing. It's like, you know what? Even though it's money over here, I want to impact the world. And I love that. But if we don't have this over here, then at any one point, it could just all unravel, right? So it takes a combination of making sure that we're looking at all those blind spots, but also creating where there's gaps, we can then have operational velocity to go to that next level.
100%.